Tucked away on Queen Street in the heart of Derby is a building that has quietly witnessed some of the greatest of moments in British scientific and industrial history. At first glance, 27 to 28 Queen Street may appear unassuming, but behind its modest facade lies a story woven through astronomy, invention, clockmaking, and global connections. From the age of Enlightenment to the machine age, the story begins in 1670, when a house was built for Stephen Flamsteed, a prosperous merchant and the father of one of Derby's most illustrious sons, John Flamsteed. Born in 1646, John would rise to become the first astronomer royal, appointed by King Charles II in 1675. His meticulous star cataloguing laid the foundations for modern celestial navigation and helped shape the Greenwich Observatory's global legacy. Though John spent much of his career in London, the Derby houses were his early interest in the cosmos likely took root. It's fitting that a street so grounded in earthly industry would be tied to a man whose gaze was fixed on the heavens. A century later, the house entered a new era, when John Whitehurst, one of the 18th century's most brilliant mechanical minds, made it his home. Whitehurst wasn't just a clockmaker, he was an inventor, geologist, and a key member of the Lunar Society, an informal group of industrialists, scientists, and thinkers, including James Watt, and, of course, Mr. Wedgwood, and Darwin. In the warm glow of a candlelight inside 27 Queen Street, it is said that Benjamin Franklin himself may have been amongst the guests entertained by the Whitehursts. The house became not only a home for the hub for intellectual exchange, where discussions flowed as freely as tea and biscuits, and ideas sparked revolutions in thought and in technology. Perhaps the most literal way 27 to 28 Queen Street shaped history was through the measurement of time itself. In the days before nationwide time standardization, each town operated on its local mean time, calculating from its exact longitude. Derby, lying slightly west of Greenwich, was approximately 4 minutes and 30 seconds behind London time. With the introduction of the railway time needed to be standardized, and Greenwich Mean Time was introduced. At the time when clockmakers like John Whitehurst and later John Smith and Co. Limited were producing precision timepieces, local mean time was not just a technical curiosity, it was essential. Church clocks, railway timetables, and factory whistles were all set by Derby Mean Time, which was likely calibrated and maintained by craftsmen working at this very address. It wasn't until the late 19th century, with the advent of the railway and the need for synchronized timekeeping, that Greenwich Mean Time became the national standard. But Derby's local time lives on in horological records and quite possibly in the workings of historic clocks and still running time. The Whitehurst legacy continued into the 19th century with John Whitehurst III, who carried on the family's horological tradition. One of his apprentices, John Smith, would eventually take over the business and the building. Thus began a new chapter as John Smith & Co. Limited, one of Derby's most respected position clockmakers. From 27 Queen Street, the firm produced high-quality turret clocks and industrial timepieces, many of which still mark the hours in town halls and churches across Britain. The workshop operated from this address for over 140 years, adapting to change technologies, but always keeping rooted in craftsmanship and engineering excellence. By the time the business moved out in 1999, 27 to 28 Queen Street had spent more than 3 centuries at the beating heart of Derby's scientific and industrial story. It nurtured a royal astronomer, housed a polymath clockmaker, and borne witness to the march of progress. Tick-tock, gear by gear. In 2024, its historical significance was officially recognised when the building was granted Grade 2 listing, ensuring its preservation for future generations. So walk past today and you may barely notice the building. Its neo-Georgian frontage, redesigned in 1928 by borough architect Charles Aslin, offers a clean and symmetrical face to the street. But step back for a moment and imagine the ideas sparked inside these walls. Imagine Flamsteed charting stars, Whitehurst refining his theories of geology, or Smith's apprentices learning the fine art of timekeeping. Queen Street is not just a building, it's a time capsule, a place where science, industry and imagination converged. A house that once looked to the heavens now stands firmly in the pages of Derby's history. So thank you for watching, and I do hope you found this short documentary interesting. So see you again.